Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 138, oh my gosh, of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, movie news, and Sonic movie news. And my name is Ethan. With me here, as always, to M and the C and the U and the video games it up, is Devin.
I'm a hedgehog. I feel like that's obvious.
What is that from?
It's from the first Sonic movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I think...
Maybe it's just the way you said it sounded like that was not what the line delivery of the movie was.
I think it's when Tom first sees him or whatever. Like, what are you? Or something like that. He's like, I'm a hedgehog. I thought that's obvious.
Because it's not obvious, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good question. What would you just, get rid of all your knowledge of Sonic and you just see Sonic? What do you think would you describe him as?
Now, it's my question. Movie Sonic or a game Sonic?
Movie Sonic.
Movie Sonic in particular?
Is he a mammal? Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be some sort of rodent man. Blue rodent man. I would not think
maybe?
hedgehog because the quills are really big.
Cartoon character of some sort.
Yeah, if it was like the cartoon or the video game, you'd be like, oh, it's a cartoon character. I don't really think too much about, you know what I mean, what an anthropomorphic animal in a cartoon is sometimes. It's interesting. This has nothing to do with our topic today.
That's a thought experiment right there.
Yeah, we had an idea to do a couple more evergreen episodes. We're going to do one today. Episodes that get you thought-provoking, such as this starter question there.
That was a
get
warm-up.
You thinking about some things. Yeah. Here is our idea. So you have movies, right? There's a whole bunch of movies.
A lot of them.
And now we're in the day and age where A, movies have to make $1 trillion to survive, and B, they all need to be connected to each other. Otherwise, why would you see this? It's not a sequel.
It's all about the cinematic universe. It can't just be a standalone thing. Nope.
You can't just make a Mummy movie. You got to announce 5 people... photo shoot. You need a photo shoot with celebrities.
Yes. Which probably costs a couple grand easily.
Who was in that?
I just remember Johnny Depp and Tom Cruise. I don't remember who else was in there.
Oh, I thought someone
they're blurred.
else.
They're blurred in my brain. I see
there
their
was
bodies,
one
but
woman.
Their faces are blurred.
Yeah, and then there was four dudes. 2 of them are the people you described. I swear there was someone else where I'm like, I wanted to see what this man was in. Whatever he was going to be, but whatever. Yeah, so there are cinematic universes in movies where you'll have a movie, it gets a sequel, and then another movie that seems innocuously completely separate from it, but it's connected, right? And they do all this and that. What if that idea in general, but for video games, what would that look like? Could it literally just be Marvel games all connected? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? But actually just... What would it be like in video games just in general? And does it make sense? And is anyone even kind of doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Does Smash Brothers count?
Could you argue that Sonic has a cinematic universe? I think you need a third movie, right? I mean, there's going to be the Knuckles TV show, so I guess that could be part of a cinematic universe.
I think in order for it to be considered a cinematic universe, it can't just be... Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 4. You need...
It's like a trilogy
Tales.
Or something at that point.
Like Lord of the Rings, that's not a cinematic universe. That's a trilogy.
Okay, if you make
a
spin-off kind of standalone film called Robotnik, or no, Eggman, I think it'd be better.
Right.
And it's a Joker Eggman story.
My God.
It's just about how he got there.
How he became the Eggman.
I am
the Eggman. That's who I am.
When do you introduce me? Can you call me Eggman? But
that's what you called me.
Would that be if you... Granted, the DC cinematic universe really isn't a cinematic universe at this point, but...
and they can't release their latest movie.
I think that would make it more of a cinematic universe where you're like, okay, there's going to be a separate movie that's just about Knuckles. And then he's introduced in the Sonic... Then he appears again in Sonic 4, for example.
Right. Then that becomes a
conversation.
Cinematic. But then, you're right. With the DC stuff, it's in their best interest to not have it all be connected.
Because it's awful.
I thought that Joker movie was pretentious, but decently fun. And I understood, I appreciated it, but also felt it was extremely pretentious, if that makes sense. I'm not a hater, but I'm not going to be like, this was amazing either. I'm somewhere in between. That had nothing to do with those movies, and that's what it needed to be. Different from those movies, Yeah. I would love if, like, DC was like, all right, we're going to call our cinematic universe World's Finest, because that's what we had a comic line that was like that. And they were not connected to each other. It was just a fun idea. What if Batman and Superman were best buds? And then what if this and what if that? That's what you do. Your Wonder Woman movie is its own thing. Your Batman, that stuff. But like, because it's hard to make these work, you need someone that's going to dedicate their whole life to being a lore master. But also you have to let each director do whatever they want. You know what I mean?
It's tough. Could be tough.
Being a lore man, being the person that tells them no is tough when you're like, do whatever you want.
Honestly, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons when you think about it. You have a DM who says, okay, these things need to happen, or we need to get the characters to this stuff. But then all these directors are different players,
right?
Or maybe are sub DMs almost. There's like the master.
Yeah,
DM,
I mean, like, I'm not gonna railroad you and say like, no, you're not doing the thing you just said you wanted to do. That's totally feasibly within reach of you accomplishing, because I don't want you to do that. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I DM a campaign that you play in, and I have grand, far-reaching ideas, and I hope to God we can get there. Because I don't know, I'd have to find organic ways of letting you do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But also kind of slowly directing you in the direction you want to go. And that's kind of what Kevin Feige does in MCU. He's like, all right. I forgot his name for a second. James Gunn. I almost called him Kevin Smith. Which I guess it'd be fun to see what a Kevin Smith MCU movie would be like, right? Maybe he'd have Batman in there. I don't know. Be like, all right, James Gunn, you could do whatever you want to do, but I'd really like if we can have some of this Thanos stuff in this movie.
A little bit of Thanos, a little bit of Purple Man.
If you don't mind having him in here, do whatever you want with him. You know what I mean? Like, you want to introduce a couple characters that are related to him. Cool. But like, we need to have him on the movie somewhere. Stuff like that.
I imagine that's what he does. It's 5 minutes, and then he's off for 3 months till the next movie, and he gets paid $50 million a year or whatever the fuck. He calls him up, be like, hey, how's that Thanos? The script looking good? Okay. All right, I saw on page 14. I saw that Thanos. Okay, good.
He sits in the chair. Chair turns around. Okay, we got it. We're good. Good. Talk to you later, baby. Bye-bye.
All right, I got a meeting. It's just like him playing golf in fucking New Zealand or some shit.
Now, for video games, though, how would this idea work? Now, you pitched this idea to me, this episode idea to me, and before recording, I'm like, oh, well, I've actually thought of this idea before, but I don't want to like just then now take a half an hour and just tell you my idea. So I want to ask this to you now. Mm-hmm. If you could take several existing properties, or if you were starting your own new one and build a universe out of it, I think that's the more challenging thing. Because you have to essentially establish a world, because you need all these branching things, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing? How are you doing this? It doesn't have to be Sonic either, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's easy, I think, to start with Sonic though, just because of our show and the success that both films have had, and then you also have a Detective Pikachu. Everything is playing perfectly into my idea. We have to assume that.
Right.
I would, if I'm like Nintendo or maybe it's Sega, the other way around. Paramount Paramount did both of them, so they already have that connection. Paramount sits them both down. We're like, listen, Detective Pikachu is a hit. Sonic 1 and 2 are a hit. We already know Sonic 3 going to be a hit. All right, we know Knuckles, the TV show, gonna slap. Big picture. We see the MCU over there, and they've been top dogs for a while. Someone needs to take them out. And they're starting, the movie is starting, people aren't, still they're going to see them, but they're starting to dwindle. Now they're bleeding a little bit. They're wounded. They're sleeping right now. This is when we attack. So what we're going to do, we don't announce it, like formally, but in Sonic 3, at the end, Pikachu's in the end credits scene.
Oh.
Kind of like when Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man comes in at the end of Hulk or whatever and says, "You want to join the Avengers Initiative?" or whatever, how he says it, right?
Exactly like that. You nailed it.
That's how I would start it. We just do it and see what the reaction is. We can always not do it. We can always do Amazing Spider-Man 2, show the Sinister Six at the end, then never go there. Build hype for nothing.
Right, because Disney came calling and offered us a lot of money to just build it into theirs.
So we can do that and see how it goes, see how people's reaction. I think the reaction is going to be good, especially if Detective Pikachu comes out. Maybe Detective Pikachu 2 is somehow connected to their world in some way. Maybe the rings would go to another dimension and where Pokemon exists and the worlds merge or something like that. Maybe that's the idea. Who knows? That's not our job. We're just saying we want to combine these ideas. Okay, that movie comes out, people love it. All right, now we're calling. There's been a lot of Resident Evil movies, hasn't there?
Oof. You're gonna go with this route?
Yeah, Hey, if Disney's gonna do Blade, we're allowed to do Resident Evil and Pikachu. All right,
That's fair.
we call Resident Evil up. Be like, hey, when's the next movie coming out? Oh, okay. How about at the end? We just drop a little
Pikachu. It's just Pikachu in all of these.
Yeah, Pikachu's in all of them.
And every single time he's like,
we drop
I'm on the hunt.
Sort of,
I'm searching for some clues. He just says that same
Leon
line.
Kennedy opens his phone at the end and says, I need to make a call. And on the contacts, it says, tails.
No, you don't see the contacts.
Miles per hour.
You don't see the contacts. You just see him put the phone and he puts it up to his ear. And we cut to a scene. It's close up on like an end table or something. You can't tell what's going on. You just see the phone. And the ringtone is Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
And it's Tom.
Or it's just
and
a giant
he picks
glove.
up the phone.
Oh, Tom.
Yes.
Honestly, that could work. Tom goes to Raccoon City.
Because they used to work with each other.
Yeah. His
only two good
buddy
cops in fiction.
He was his college roommate was Leon fucking Kennedy. We can make these connections work. It doesn't have to necessarily be
How's
Sonic
it going,
has to
Leon?
be in
There's
it.
a zombie apocalypse on the
need you
East
here.
Coast.
I need you here,
Please.
or you don't even jump there yet. It's just like, I need to go to this island to save the president's daughter. I need you.
Ooh, or it's before Resident Evil 2 and he's like, hey, got any tips for my first day on the job?
Oh, yeah. See, there's so many ideas. And then, it's a spin-off story of the Resident Evil 2, but this time, instead of Leon and Claire, it's Leon and Tom Wachowski. And it's like a buddy cop horror comedy.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought when you pitched this idea, it was a universe of video games. I didn't think it was video game movies.
I'm getting all the franchises. I'm getting all the
So
video
my
game-
idea is completely irrelevant to this. I have another one, though. But I'm
Okay.
just going to throw this out
Sorry.
there. I thought this topic was something else.
No,
I'm
like,
on board
I-
for this one.
I'm going to try to get all that's everything's a franchise now. Everything needs to be together to maximize profits. And I feel like the only way someone's going to stop Marvel is we've talked about this. I think you're more of a believer that maybe video game movies can be the next big $1 billion blockbuster. I don't know if I'm fully on board yet, but we're getting there. But I don't know if I'm on board yet. We'll see.
I have, just like how you said, everything obviously goes the way you want it, and it's great. I got video game movies in my head. I think I said one of them on the air in an old episode. Yeah, I'm with you there. Now, so Leon Kennedy and Tom Wachowski go to this island to save the president's daughter in the Resident Evil sequel movie, right? Because we did Resident Evil 2, and then he calls Tom. Resident Evil 4 is Tom. That's where we start to do a crossover, right?
Yeah,
but it's still called Resident Evil 4 or whatever we would call that movie. It's the sequel, right?
Yeah.
When they get to there, because it was in Europe, right? It wasn't on an island. I thought it was in...
I just remember they leave on a jet ski. So I'm assuming there's a lot of body of water.
Maybe it was in the
It's an
Mediterranean.
island. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. Sure. Fine. They go there. And they go through the village and that famous, one of the first level or whatever it was in the village there, with the guy with the chainsaw or whatever. They clear this area and they're being stealthy, but they don't see any zombies. But it's the set, so you're I know what that is. They get to this end. There's that clock tower, bell tower. There's a high tower that you can get up in there, right?
Yeah.
Right. So they get up there. We need to take a look around. They climb up there, and they look over, and there's some trees, right? And they're looking over at the horizon. They see, like, the trees start to shift, like, a lot of them at once. They're like, what is this? And it's a fucking monster hunter monster. It's just sleeping in there. They're like, we don't know what to do.
So, because that's the thing with, like, the Marvel universe, right? Is they're at the point now where they can throw in a character who isn't necessarily related to Thor and just be like, yep, Guardians of the Galaxy dudes are here. Not the main cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, but, like, this group of aliens that maybe you saw in the first Guardians movie, they're here, and you're okay with it because they've shown it in the past. What I like about this is that they don't have to necessarily call it Monster Hunter. It can just be one of the dinosaurs from Monster Hunter is on this island along with the crazy village people, and it's cool.
And there are no zombies in this area because he ate them. But when they move on,
it's
then
a play on
there
expectations.
Are, exactly.
We're using the source material
exactly.
Still. But I like that they make Marvel has their comedy. They have their comedy shtick at this point. We have to establish ours. I want Tom Wachowski at some point being like, "Man, these people are crazy," and then like the crowd laughs. But Leon Kennedy's the serious one. He's all business.
Right.
And Tom Wachowski,
which is again playing up expectations, comparing the original Resident Evil 4 and how he's just a goofy cornball.
Yeah, he's a little bit more serious in this one.
Exactly. Now, another question. Can we introduce game characters that haven't had a movie yet? Or do they have to be?
I'm just saying, I think...
Because I really want to know how Pac-Man fits in this universe. And what he looks like.
We need to start, I think, with like ones that are working or have worked, and like our people are... The general audience is familiar with. Can
we make a rule right now?
Yeah.
No Oobol characters?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, all those movies out.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, of course. But
that goes with us.
I don't want to necessarily bring those same characters back. It's more of just like what has worked recently and that the audience is familiar with. That's how Marvel's first movies worked. Everyone knows who the Hulk is. Everyone knows who Iron Man is. Everyone knows who Thor is. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is. You know what I mean? Those couple ones. You
maybe
know
not that last one, but sure.
But before they started, because like no one knew who the fuck Captain Marvel was, and they probably if they dropped that first,
a lot of people didn't know who the fuck Captain America was, myself included. To be honest,
I've always heard of Captain America. But whatever.
I didn't know anything about him though.
They picked the original Avengers that are generally people have heard of in some fashion. You know, they're not just going to drop a Swamp Thing movie out of nowhere. You know
That's
what I mean?
DC.
I know, but I'm using that as an example. Like DC wouldn't do that. So for me, it's like before we get into the more obscure characters,
we need a Superman.
We need
a Batman.
We already have Sonic, and we have the Mario movie. Hey. We tried it. That's the next one. Marvel should be the leader of the... Maybe we're all building up for a Smash Brothers movie, but they want to establish some other stuff first. That's what I'm saying. Like could be our Avengers. It's a Smash Brothers movie.
So then, what has worked recently? Not Monster Hunter, but that's why it's a cameo.
You can always reboot
type.
it. Yeah, it's a cameo type. We can reboot it later on. But I like the idea of having that be a cameo.
Mila Jokovich's character isn't in the movie. It's just the monster is sleeping. They don't have to fight or anything, but it's like a reason for why. Okay. So let's say we go through the rest of this movie, and it's the Resident Evil 4, but it's Tom with Leon.
Yeah.
We don't have any more cameos in here, but we need a teaser at the end. What happens? They leave. They're successful. The president's daughter, she's there at the end.
Well, the president can call and be like, hey... Your boy Sonic was sent to space, and then we can tie that into like either Space Invaders, not Dead Space, but like Sonic is going to somewhere in space, and then we could tie that into bringing other characters in, and we could do our Sonic 4 or Sonic 5 at this point, kind of like our Iron Man 3, right? Okay, we're building more story around our main character, one of our main characters, which is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
Who's going to be an important character in the Super Smash Brothers?
Your president calls teaser at the end had me thinking, though, and I know you haven't finished any of these games, but Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3 end, and after their credits, the title logo pops up for that game, and you hear audio over Revolver Ocelot calling Mr. President, and it's this big secret of like, wait, Ocelot was working for the president? And then the third game is a prequel, and it's like, wait, even back then in the 60s, he was working for the president. I don't know. That just reminded me.
We could do that. I like, these aren't like exact details. I'm just saying, like, this is how.
No, he said in stone right now, or they're not going to take our pitch. We need to have a concrete idea.
No, I feel like that's how I build it. Where it's like, you got to start with the ones that are working, and then you slowly throw in those Easter eggs, slowly throw in those things. And I like that idea a little bit more because I think that builds more hype. Because I feel like that's how. Did they never
keep expectations low a little bit, and when you feel like, okay, we have them hooked, like they're expecting something, phases. Then we can like really throw in a giant cameo. We're halfway through Sonic 4 or whatever, Mario shows up. And for the rest of Sonic 4, it's Sonic and Mario, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know,
but it's called Sonic 4, whatever the subtitle is, right?
Right.
Like, that'd be cool, yeah. Because that's how like Captain America Civil War was. Like, granted, that was advertised as like, yep, everyone's going to be in it, but it's supposed to be a Captain America story. But then it turned into like, oh, Spider-Man's in this.
Yeah, and that was obviously not originally planned. Nor was I think either the Civil War movie. Yes, either the Civil War movie was never planned to be that, or they were hiding it because the third Captain America movie was called Serpent Society initially, and it sounded like it was going to be him hunting down Hydra ops in modern day. And then in the big, and this is up on YouTube because someone had filmed it with their camera in the audience, the big Disney private MCU, like, we're showing this group of dedicated fans all of our project logos and whatever. That logo pops up and Kevin Feige's like, no, I think we need to do something else, or whatever bullshit he said. And it changes to Civil War, and people are like, oh my god. So I wonder if they kept that a secret when they first announced what that movie was. So maybe we can do something like that too.
When did Disney announce that there's going to be phases? Like, when was that?
After Avengers, then there was a phase 2.
Because I know they were building up to Avengers, but they were hoping to build.
Yeah,
up
they
to
were
Avengers.
Just building up with Rand. We didn't really know that there was an outline, I feel like. Yeah. But yeah, Disney bought it like right after Avengers or something like that came out, because that was a Paramount distributed movie. Was Avengers.
Right. So they have the experience of at least starting a big thing, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, that was still Marvel Entertainment that did everything, because Kevin Feige was attached to that as producer still. So Disney bought somewhere during there, and some of the movies were already started. But then, yeah, I think then Disney was like, all right, nope, Kevin, do whatever you want, Kevin. And Kevin's like, yes. And then I don't know what goes on in that man's head now, if he's just like, I know every Marvel fact and I hate it. And I need to make this shit stretch out for the rest of my career. How am I going to keep all these people happy? Well, eventually they're going to get upset if I don't put Wolverine in this movie, so...
Well, that's the thing, too, is, like, let's say that... Because there's always been the rumors that Metal Gear movie is going to come out. Let's say that does come out, and it doesn't have any Easter eggs involved with us, but maybe later on, we bring that in. You
tie it back into it, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily everything has to be in it, but once we get more of these foundational
that's a good idea.
Pieces,
you have a video game movie that's, like, from a different distributor, different production company, so you're like, this ain't attached to them, you know what I mean? This is its own thing. They're going to just have this movie be a sequel. And then, yeah, we do a stinger at the end where they call up that character or whatever, you know, where that character shows up. You're like, wait, they are connected.
Or they do encounter something that is not of their world that wouldn't necessarily be. Like, yeah, at the end of the Metal Gear movie, Snake, like, I don't know, is driving his car or something and, like, hits a Monster Hunter animal or something, or the Horizon Zero Dawn fucking deer robot or something like that, to be like, yeah. What does this mean? You know. So I think that's kind of like my idea would be, like, start with the foundational pieces and have kind of like a general end goal that you want to get to. I want to think like phase 1, phase 2, because you want to, like I said, you want to keep expectations low in case it doesn't work out.
Right.
A lot less, more of a financial risk. And also, like I said, I wouldn't want to.
And you won't be a tweet that people will jokingly retweet onto your timeline every month, like that Dark Universe,
whatever. Like, yeah, I wouldn't want to announce it if I'm Paramount. I would just keep doing these movies one by one and see how people react to it. And then if it gets successful enough, you're making the billions, then it could be like, yep, we're hoping to drop Super Smash Brothers in 2030. You know, like, and that's what that is our aim. That's going to be the final thing. And then if that does well, then of course you extend it and it'd have sub shows and
sure. And then it's just money, and it's just at that point it's just
But if you
just
want to tell a
spend money
story,
and you get money out.
I think you build it around Sonic. I'm hoping that Marvel movie be good. Get built around Mario. I feel like if you're gonna do a video game cinematic universe based off other video game movies that have either been done or haven't been done yet, but like you want to do, I think you gotta have Mario in there. Like Mario is a staple. You know.
Now
what I mean?
here's the issue that we're running into here, right? Marvel stuff all owned by Marvel and now Disney. You gotta let Nintendo is gonna have to play ball. Capcom's gonna have to play ball.
Yeah, in our
ideal world, they all are like, yes, let's all make money together and have a fun time. And then there's also the like, no, I don't think your villain should be taller than my villain, so I don't want my villain in your movie because Bowser should be taller than Dr. Eggman or
maybe
whatever.
Bowser is. I don't know if Bowser. Well, no, Bowser is going to be the Mario brother. That's
He's
okay. That's our
Jack
big question.
Black.
Who is our Thanos or Loki even?
Oh, who is our ultimate villain in this universe?
Yeah.
I don't want it because you say Super Smash Brothers, and I almost feel like there's no like story there. Like, yeah, there was a story mode, and like it wasn't good in Smash Brothers.
We
Brawl
can do
on the
anything.
Wii, but like
it doesn't have to even be.
But like,
tied
like
to Smash Brothers,
the kind of unifying thing would be like the gloved hand. That's stupid. You pick a villain from one of the video games.
Yeah,
you want to make them. I mean, it could be Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 1. It could be Bowser.
Sephiroth.
It could be. Fuck. There we go. It's Sephiroth. It's just honest to God. Here's what happens. We have all this universe stuff, right? And then like what you said, all this stuff happens, right? And you obviously have to tease your big villain in a couple ways. So you have a little bit snippet stuff, and people are like a little wisp here, a little this there. No one really understands, but they understand that this thing in all of these movies is somehow connected, right? But we don't want to give them too much information because they would lose their fucking minds. And then the final teaser in one of these is that it's Sephiroth or whatever. Yeah. And then the next movie is just literally a shot for shot, condensed as fuck, Final Fantasy VII, except halfway through all these fuckos from other video games pop in, and they all fight Sephiroth together. I don't know, that's stupid.
Or maybe it's kind of like you have a Final Fantasy VII kind of movie, but like you said, super condensed. Maybe the story is a little bit different.
Or like you just start, partway through.
That is a prequel for Super Smash Brothers, basically, where like you're learning about the power that Sephiroth has. Maybe Sephiroth wins, in that story, and it's Cloud being like, "Fuck, we need a bigger team.
I need this Italian plumber.
I need this.
Pink. We need to have Kirby in here somehow.
I think Kirby could
Tetris
be in there in some way. I think Tetris.
The
would have
solitaire
to be like
game on Windows.
Tetris would have to be like a planet that like Sonic visits or something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you couldn't do like I'm a talking block.
This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. It's a little computer. It's an AI personality, but all it does is it's just the screen is just Tetris the whole time.
Yeah,
a game of Tetris being played out.
Change it up.
You just make a character that represents Tetris.
But basically, I think Super Smash Brothers should be like, just Avengers level where there's a big threat and the universes are somehow combined in some way. That, like I said, that's for the directors to stitch
and we're going
together.
Crazy with this, where you're like Sonic's connected to Resident Evil and this and that. Like those feel very separate. You could take a step back, start anew, and be like, all right, what's stuff that does work together? And I've had this idea for a while. Like I've had a pitch for a Metroid movie in my head forever, and half of the story in my mind is not actually a plot of Metroid. It's another Nintendo R&D 1 game that I am forgetting what the name of it was, because it was only on the NES and then was in was in arcades. Shit, what was it? I'm going to edit this out. What was it called? Oh my god, because I have this thought like all the time. Looking through. Mach Rider. There was this game called Mach Rider. It was on the NES. It was a racing game where you are it's almost, I don't want to say like Mad Max or anything like that, but that would be kind of the angle you could do in this movie. But it's like a apocalyptic, futuristic, like you're racing, and it's just like that type of stuff. And then they had an arcade version. The reason why I want to connect these two, famous ending on the original Metroid. If you beat it under a certain amount of time, she takes her helmet off or whatever, and it's a lady under there. I didn't know that. The instruction manual in Japan used they, them. The American one said he, tried to make you not think it was a woman. Oh, it's a woman. That's cool, right? That's a secret. And everyone's like, oh, wow, they really they did that. Like it's a first. It's not a first. They literally did that in Mach Rider in the arcade version, where if you win the Grand Prix or whatever, it's like, oh, it's a woman under there, but only in that version, right? So this Metroid movie is mostly this, but like she goes to this planet for whatever reason, and you have that stuff, Mach Rider stuff going on. In this Nintendo universe, you could also easily have Star Fox, because it's in space. You could have F-Zero, because it easily fits in futuristic
Maybe
stuff.
Sonic is there. Because, like I said,
and
I like my idea of sending Sonic to space.
Right.
He uses the rings, and we saw that there was Guardians of the Galaxy looking motherfuckers in Sonic too.
That's very true.
We could easily be like, Metroid walks out of that ring. Or not Metroid, Samus. Sorry. Don't get mad.
Don't be an illiterate gamer.
Sorry.
I honest to God, one of my favorite posts of all time was on Miiverse. That you remember when we got me banned from Miiverse?
Yeah.
Was this kid that played Super Metroid, never played a Metroid game, and just posts, why can't Metroid crawl? Because there was a gap that you couldn't walk under. And like to that day, this is posted forever of like, look at this kid. He called her Metroid, you know? But you have an idea like that, and that, okay, you slowly branch out to things that make sense. Obviously, the shock factor of Leon Kennedy has a phone call with Detective Pikachu is very much like, what the fuck? But like, you could slowly make sequels. It's almost kind of like what the MCU is. You have this Metroid movie. A good chunk of it is a story that's from another video game universe. And then she has a sequel that's solely her own, and another one, sure. And then you start to have like, okay, F-Zero, because that's racing, and Mach Rider is racing. You could somehow maybe connect them a little bit. And you have the Star Foxes and this and that. And then, Sonic, they go to a planet and Sonic's there because he can. You know what I mean? And then you start to weave in, other type of stuff.
Or she teams up with, like, Knuckles because she needs a piece of a Chaos
She's
Emeralds.
a bounty hunter. He is a treasure hunter. It works. They are looking for something.
And it could be a 15-minute thing where, like, she's like, I know a guy who can help me find the thing I'm looking for. And it's like a...
Cut to a speed bag getting hit. And hits, the camera's too high. You look down, here's this red guy.
Yeah, and you're like, no way. And then, like, it's Idris Elba.
I just got a phone call. I can't do Idris Elba's Knuckles.
Oh, you need help. Finding...
a Chaos Emerald.
I've been looking for those for years. What do you need it for? I need to XYZ, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly.
Like stuff like that, where like that's what the MCU I think does well, is that like, oh, all of a sudden Ant-Man is in this and he actually is doing this. Oh, and then afterwards realize Ant-Man's getting his own movie. Cool. That's like a teaser almost.
Not to cut your idea off, but I had two ideas. Number one, you could very easily do this by making just one movie, and then automatically you have a cinematic universe that's already laid in motion. You make a single Kingdom Hearts movie. It's like everything Disney ever made is now connected to this one movie, first off. But I also had this thought, too. If they were to make movies based off Final Fantasy games, they are all separate from one another. So if you ever make one connection, then all of a sudden they're all kind of... But I feel like even if you didn't, it would just be an anthology of movies that they're all under the same umbrella.
Bring Sephiroth as a villain, but never show any Final Fantasy stuff because Sephiroth is, I think, iconic enough.
Yeah, you
could just imply that like maybe he has a Sonic ring that he comes out of into New York City, just like Avengers or whatever, and it's just and it just shows you see in the background like Midgar like on fire or something. He's like, I'm on
right
my
through
neck.
the ring.
So like, okay, like it just tells you enough. The audience enough to be like, okay, and this wherever he's from, this version of Sephiroth, he won, and now he's coming to Earth because reasons.
Because reasons, yes.
Oh no, he's coming to Green Hills, motherfucker.
He needs the Master Emerald. Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's that could be the main thing that is why Sephiroth is here. He wants the Master Emeralds for its
and
power.
then you have Jim Carrey's Eggman, like basically having to like be a henchman, so to speak. Like he's easily outclassed.
Or
you know,
this whole time he doesn't realize it, but he's being played by Sephiroth in some way. Like Sephiroth was pulling the strings. And if people listen to our one episode of Sonic 3 where we pitched the idea of having Eggman have a mom who was really pulling all the strings. So you have Sephiroth pulling the mom's strings, who's pulling Jim Carrey's Eggman strings. There you go. It's even deeper. It's deeper than we thought.
Okay, I like
That's
this.
one idea.
Our villain is Sephiroth. Well, this makes me very happy because, you know, I'm a Sephiroth stan.
Yeah.
I would never say I'm a stan of anything, really, except for Sephiroth. So this works out for me very well. I just like when villains win.
So like I like the idea. You don't even have to have a Final Fantasy VII movie that way. Enough to worry about it. You just be like, nope. He won that world.
But we're gonna tease it so fucking hard and make it look like we will make that, just so that when we eventually do, when this whole thing's over with, and we make just a prequel movie that's they lost, you know, we make that version of the story. It's $1 trillion. It's $3 bajillion.
Yeah, what if like one of the end credit scenes for one of the one-off video game movies here is it just shows Sephiroth walking to Midgar, and you're like, oh, we're gonna get a Final Fantasy VII movie. Nope. We're getting a Super Smash Brothers movie. Change your expectations, but still hype.
Because the next one ends after he already won. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he destroyed the planet or whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. So like that's how I think I would do it for me, and I liked your ideas as well. I think like that's what I'm saying. If we get more people in this room who also played a lot of different types of video games, be like, what can we do? Who can we call? What's some cheap IP that maybe we can throw in? Like, fuck it. When Sonic's going to space or when Samus's going to space, maybe there's a scene when they need to shoot asteroids and it's fucking asteroids.
I feel like that's something you just have on someone's walking through a bar and that's a machine in the background is the asteroids machine. I don't know if you Devin, that's a vector. That's just lines. Those are just lines. There's no graphics. As soon as you make graphics,
but honestly, my
no one
big
would realize
endgame plan, my real motives,
is
that all this connects, and how they defeat Sephiroth is they go back in time, just like kind of like Avengers, but they go too far back and it merges worlds, and then you get Dino Crisis.
Oh my god.
And that's started phase 2. It's Dino Crisis. I think that's what I honestly would do. Is you have your staple characters of Sonic, and because like MCU is Iron Man first, but then I think Captain America became that second part. That's part of the Civil War thing, and then you even have issues of that their dynamic going into the last movie we reviewed for Chronicles of Diesel, which was Avengers: Infinity War. So I feel like if you build around Sonic and Mario, that's I think a good place to do. I think we had obviously we can have our side characters in there, but I think they should be the leaders of this push for a Super Smash Brothers. And obviously I think and then maybe Detective Pikachu as well. But like I said, with Pokemon, I feel like Pokemon can be more.
Pokemon can be its own cinematic universe. Yeah. Pikachu dips in a little bit to say what's up, but like we got our own shit going on.
Yeah, I think there could be Pokemon in the worlds that they're going to, though. Maybe one of the battles they fight Sephiroth in is in, was it Kodo Town or whatever, or how you pronounce that? But one of the towns in the Pokemon games.
Sure.
Just like, okay, we're fighting in Indigo Town or whatever. I don't remember any of the names. But
Pallet Town, Viridian City, Lavender Town.
That's from getting Indigo from. I thought there was an Indigo.
The Indigo League was the gym challenge. Indigo League.
Yeah, something like that. Where like
Fuchsia City.
Once we get further enough into this, you could start throwing in a Monster Hunter monster in there. You could put maybe they fight the Rampage Gorilla at some point. You know what I mean? Just something goofy like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's how they can do it. Do I think it would happen? No. I think that most, like you said, I think the most probable one would be like a Pokemon cinematic universe.
Right,
they can
a bunch
get away
of
with
movies
that
within
easily.
themselves.
And they don't have to
yeah.
necessarily connect. They can just
Because there's
be like,
so many Pokemon and there's so many games. Like,
yeah.
again, like the Detective Pikachu, like, yeah, a lot of us don't think of that as a movie based off a specific game, but it is to a degree. There was a Detective Pikachu 3DS game that was this idea. They took a lot of liberties.
They can do a Pokemon Snap game where it's just about a photographer.
I would fucking love that. Although I never played the sequel that came out like last year. But like they could easily do a Pokemon Red and Blue game and movie and then a Pokemon Gold and Silver movie, and like those feel distinct, you know, and then you cross them over a bit. It's like, because I've always had this idea. I've had a pitch for a Pokemon Gold and Silver movie, right? And it's these 3 kids. They are the characters in the games that are named Gold, Silver, and Crystal, right? It's those 3 kids. Whatever that movie covers the entire game, right? You have one character that wants to be the best. That's our Gold. You have another character that wants to fill out the Pokédex. That's our Crystal, helping the professor. And Silver was the red-haired punk that, you know, was the thief or whatever. He's the legendary He's trying to find Lugia and Ho-Oh or whatever. Like, they have their 3 stories, but they're all kind of connected. They intertwine, whatever. We end. They're all chill. They're a team now. Because you know how because you played Pokemon Gold and Silver. Once you get all the gym badges, you go back home to your main town there, your starting town, and you cross the river and you're in Kanto. Okay? In the movie, they do that. And what did they fucking see? The 3 kids from the first Pokemon games, and we end in our credits is a Pokemon battle between all 6 of them. That's an easy thing where like, okay, cool, your stinger is that they're connected and they're, you know, like they could easily do that with Pokemon. I'm sorry I rambled on and on about that, but like,
no,
cool idea, right?
I think Pokemon is the highest odds. I think Sonic is right up there though. Like we said, like to expand,
it can be for sure,
expand further into the other characters.
Now we've had this. We had an episode where we casted every single Sonic fucko.
It's already done,
but we also believe that they should not just start throwing these people randomly in there. They gotta be smart about this.
I feel like they've done a good job so far. I want to make that clear too. I think like they introduced just enough characters
because they got the 3 best ones: Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
I'm glad there wasn't a Amy yet. You know what I mean? I don't. You know, I'm glad there isn't Big the Cat.
Not too many all at once.
Or even
because
Chow,
here's the thing.
Sorry.
As much as there's Sonic fans like you and me that are like, the more Sonic characters in a game, the higher chance it's bad. You know, Sonic Forces, etc. Like, you play Sonic Forces and you're like, I hate you and you and you and you and you. None of you should be here. I don't want this. But let's not kid ourselves. If they play this smart, they can make us cheer for any of these people when they show up in the movie. You know, if they play it smart, we'd be like, oh my god, it's Charmy the Bee. You know what I mean? They can make us, you know, you just gotta have low expectations. They don't promise too much, and they actually deliver in such a charming, surprising way. And then when they're like, hey, everyone loved that Charmy the Bee cameo, let's actually give them like a 15 minutes in the next movie. You know what I mean?
And a standalone film for the real fans we're talking about.
Oh,
Rouge
Charmy's. Oh, I was gonna say Charmy's only.
You know,
fans
I'm
account.
on that Rouge the Bat. I've been saying it. She's the best character, and she needs her own. She needs her own cinematic universe.
I don't think so, but
where's the Rouge the Bat? I think I said this before. Where's the Rouge the Bat? Bling.
The King Ice.
Where is it? Huh?
I don't know, but they started a second round where they had different ones. I thought,
but they didn't have Rouge the Bat.
Now here's a question that could be taken wrong, but it's not my intention. Do women wear King Ice stuff, or is it really only guys wear it?
I mean, women can wear bling. I don't see why they couldn't.
But what I'm saying is, like, for that specific product demographic, does that reach?
Yeah, probably more men.
Because was there an Amy one? Because I can definitely see a lot of women rocking the Amy one. I thought there was an Amy one. I
mean, there was the Tails one.
That was the one I would get. Because again,
Shadow,
let me explain this again.
I think.
Sonic ones are posers. They think they're the main characters of the world.
Yeah.
Shadow, obviously, they're the edgelords. They think they're too cool. The middle ground that everyone's like, I'll pick the cool ones, like Knuckles. No, you pick Tails. That's the actual cool motherfuckers. It's like when people pick Yoshi and Mario Kart. You're the cool motherfucker. You didn't pick, you know what I mean, Bowser or Donkey Kong, you know what I mean, or Rosalina. You picked
even with
Yoshi.
a Diddy Kong, like just his head as a bling though, that could go hard. Like he has his mouth open and he's like, ah.
You definitely don't want a full body because that tail will snap off.
Yeah, but like is that his head? Like
with the hat that says Nintendo. Ooh,
that would go hard though.
Yeah.
We should. We should do an episode on what our favorite video game characters should be turned into bling.
Ooh, I want a Triforce. I mean, honestly, a Chaos Emerald would be pretty dope.
It's an actual like emerald that's worth like
but it's the regular
$100,000.
King Ice looking thing.
They make one though. They make one, and it's just actual. It's an actual blood diamond.
Snoop Dogg has it. I don't even know what this is. Oh, actually, no, because he really likes Spyro the Dragon, and it would look like one of the gems. Spyro. So, actually, a Spyro head would be pretty cool as a King
cool.
Ice.
I just really love
the purple with the horns.
That'd be so funny. They might actually have one. Who knows?
That would be that. That's the Tails. You know what I'm saying? Because Donkey Kong is the Knuckles. Oh, that's the homeboy is Donkey Kong. Diddy. That's what you actually want. You want Diddy Kong, but you don't want to go too crazy and do one of the crocodile people. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
People would recognize Diddy Kong or Pac-Man.
This isn't a video game character, but like I just thought of it. Gary the Snail.
Okay.
I there's something there. That's like
okay.
Like you have your Patrick, you have your SpongeBob, but like you go to the movies wearing your Gary the Snail.
Patrick is like the Knuckles.
You're wearing your bomber jacket. You're wearing your bomber jacket with the white Hanes shirt underneath, and then you have you have your Diddy or Gary the Snail bling on. Like that could be a good fit.
Going to see Minions. You see that stupid? I only want to call it stupid, but like that Zoomer trend of seeing Minions in a full suit.
Yeah. It's funny though.
But like do a King Ice.
Yeah.
Gary the Snail King Ice. Can I pitch to you what I thought this topic was?
Sure. We're already here.
It was a bunch of video games that are connected.
This is the bonus part of the episode.
Okay. So Super Smash Brothers is ultra mega popular, right? They're getting in Banjo-Kazooie, and they got Sephiroth, and
Master Chief.
Right. They got all of these characters in it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then you're Sony, and you're like, we want to try that too. It's called PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and it was bad. It wasn't that bad, but it was like...
Are you saying they're the DC in this scenario, where they're like, they don't give
scenario,
they don't give any of the rights to any of the Smash Brothers stuff?
Remember that game? Okay, so Smash Brothers Brawl for the Wii was the one that was out. You know, the one for Wii U wasn't out, so there wasn't a Cloud yet. Cloud was in the Wii U one and Ultimate, right? So the only guest characters you had on the Wii one was Snake and Sonic. Arguably, that's all you need. But then I got Sephiroth, and I'm like, okay, that was actually what I needed. But arguably, cool. So that was the only two guest characters. PlayStation All-Stars is like, cool. We're going to have a Metal Gear character too. We're going to have Raiden from the upcoming game. We're going to have Dante from Devil May Cry. But not the classic Dante. The one from the weird reboot Ninja Theory is making that isn't out yet. BioShock, that's cool. Let's throw a Big Daddy in there.
I remember playing
what else?
Him. I always he had that bullshit down attack that you can corner someone in and just keep doing it endlessly.
It was weird and it didn't work. And they'd also like when you think of classic PlayStation original, you're thinking of characters that Sony doesn't own, like Lara Croft and Crash Bandicoot and Cloud and Solid Snake. You know what I mean? They don't own any of those, but and Alucard from Castlevania's Symphony of the Night. You know what I mean? They didn't have any of those people. So that game was a failure in terms of the fan service level, right?
I liked it when I played it at your place.
And hey, I platinumed that game. I clearly liked it too. But whatever, right? It wasn't as cool as Smash Brothers, especially Ultimate, that has everyone.
Was there a Last of Us at this point? No, that was...
No. The Last of Us wasn't out yet.
Didn't have Joel in there?
Nope. Now, if they tried it again, they could have Aloy and a cooler Kratos. They could have old Kratos and
every time he does
Kratos.
a special, it is
Ellie. Here's what they do instead. Because what is Sony now more famous for on PlayStation? It's the bespoke story, single-player, adventures, cinematic, highly polished main gameplay hooks, right? Think of God of War and The Last of Us Part 2 and Horizon and even Gran Turismo and Ratchet and Clank and all these. Cool.
So
Here's what you do.
You're going to put them all in a car? Gran Turismo?
Yes, a racer. Car racer. No. Here's what you do. You literally combine all of those gameplay styles, and it's like, all right, Kratos is stuck in Horizon with his son. You have Nathan Drake. He's stuck in Little Big Planet. You take all of these characters and you put them in different worlds, and they have their regular gameplay style. Ratchet and Clank, he's in the fucking Norse world shooting whatever those people were. You know,
the Draugrs.
Draugr or whatever. You have this idea. Now, they all need to be connected. They've done a pretty good job of being like, all right, here's a cool Uncharted game, here's a this game, here's a that game. I am missing someone. I have been missing him since the PlayStation 2 and his little friend that rides on his shoulder. I'm talking about Jak and Daxter.
That's right.
The whole purpose of this game is to lead into a Jak and Daxter 5. You got Jak, right? He hasn't been in the game forever. He doesn't think he's much of a hero anymore. He feels kind of down on himself, but Daxter's like, "Come on, Jak, you're big. We had 3 games, whatever. You know what I mean?" And then Daxter does something fucking stupid, and it causes all the worlds to collide. I don't know, fucking know. And Jak and Daxter being thrown. So while you have Kratos in just one world, and you have Nathan Drake in just one world, Joel and Ellie are in just one world, you put Jak and Daxter in his gameplay in all of them, right? They go to the most of the game is them, and then you lead into a Jak 5. So what you're doing is you're having your Avengers. That's the starting point for just one, or it's an origin story
just
almost.
Just for Jak and Daxter.
Just for, because they deserve it. Tell me I'm wrong.
I only played the first one and a little bit of the third one at like someone's house. But it was fun. I remember that drum beat in the opening, the first world. Boom, 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 boom.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's iconic.
Exactly.
So if I can just hear that again at the end of these games.
You know what's unfortunate? So that you can buy PS2 games on PS4, and you know those versions are on PS5. Most of them aren't good. Jak and Daxter, the original, ran at 60 frames a second. On the PS4, it's 30.
Why?
And it has frame hitches and whatnot. I don't know. They just didn't do a. I think they did the. I mean, this is how these companies work. They do one emulation job and just dump ROMs into it, as opposed to doing bespoke ones for each one. So they just had just general PS2. They
put it through the Adobe Premiere encoder, but they didn't.
Right,
really
they just tossed them all in.
They're like highest quality, whatever.
It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, that's what's unfortunate, because like you can't play a good version of those Jak games unless you buy a PS2 or like the HD collection on PS3. They recreated those for that system. Those run at a high frame rate and are good. Yeah. This PS2 ROM doesn't run on a PS4 well. It boggles my mind. But that was my idea for the gaming stuff. Yeah, you collide all the PlayStation. Now, would that work? Hell fucking no. Those are all different technologies and engines, and that wouldn't work. But, like, I can dream. Because I want Jak to be considered a top dog. Naughty dog.
He's a top. He's a top.
Yeah. Jak is a top. There's no C in his name, you know. And then when you make a Jak 4, call it Jak and Daxter 4. Have them in the title again. Come on. There was a PSP one. It sucked. Okay. This is a fun episode of the Sonic Movie Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show, on TikTok at Sonic Movie Show. I'm on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at CursonaFun. Halfway through that, I had a panic attack and thought that wasn't your handle or whatever.
It's okay.
Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on all of the places you can find a podcast, the Apples, the Spotify, the Amazons.
our cinematic universe.
Yes,
Sonic Movie Show
you can join. Here's how you join. You go and you find a YouTube video by us, and you hit that like button. after you watch the whole thing, because that actually matters more than if you like it without watching. So I am told.
Have it on in the background.
Exactly. Just
hey,
have
are
a
you
playlist.
a teacher? Are you a teacher at a school? And they're like on recess or something? Just have it on, or have it on mute. Have it on mute and play it.
Like, guys, we have a playlist. Every episode is in the playlist. You play all, you walk away. That's it. That's all you gotta do, please. And then, and then subscribe to us. Spotify and Apple can sit on your phone at the same time. Download all.
Follow.
Like, subscribe, share.
There's a follow button on Spotify. Press that follow button.
Exactly. I don't know if that counts for anything for us, but do it anyway. Jesus, guys.
I think you get like a notification when they drop something new. So
yeah, but for us.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they'll know when the new one comes out, and then they'll listen to it.
That's true. And you know what? Because we're not asking for any money, so it's the least you could do. Just like us, please. All right, we're going to say goodbye. This was a fun episode. Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I just can't wait for Dino Crisis, the movie. If I'm not getting a game, at least give me a goddamn movie. Jesus.
Oh, did you see Exoprimal is not even a single-player thing. It's a 5v5 multiplayer.
Really?
Yeah. It's PvEVP, where it's two teams
disappointed because
working through challenges.
It's a huge blue ball cock tease, 100%. Especially the fact that they had a character that looked so much like Regina, and it definitely was supposed to be like, oh, you thought you were getting this, but you're not. I'm going to play it, though.
How far did you get in Dino Crisis?
I haven't played in like a week, but a couple hours, I think. 2 hours,
okay.
2-3 hours.
Okay. We need a status report soon. I want a status report.
And this is the first Dino Crisis. I actually have never played the first one. I was a second one kid growing up. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going through the first, and maybe if I have time, I'll go through the second. I beat the second a long time ago when I was old enough to finally figure out how to control things in video games.
All right. We're signing off. I was Ethan. He was Devin. Have a fantastic day.
And he's Sonic. Huh?